The Gish Theater is the home for film culture on campus. I used to talk to people about it being a sanctuary, and it was a space where you could go and watch films with other people who were interested in films.
This space at that time was an auditorium because it was used at the elementary school. So it had a very high stage and there were wooden seats, and of course that's what it looked like when Lilian Gish came for the dedication.
Film culture, and particularly it is something that was part of the original design, that it would be the place that film's taken seriously as an art form. And with the student involvement at the Gish, it's become even more the heart and soul of students' creative work and their sense of themselves as filmmakers.
We started having movies here on weekends, sponsored by the Union Activities Committee. My two favorite pleasures were reading and going to the movies. So I long had an interest in movies. Of course, when I was in college and all, they didn't have movie making. I thought maybe we should name the theater. And I thought, oh, Lilian Gish would be a good one, being an Ohio native, and she performed as a child.
The history of the Gish Film Theater begins many years ago. I believe the Gish sisters had their first performance in a town near here called Rising Sun, Ohio, and that was the first stage performance. So there is certainly a connection, a historic connection to the Gish sisters here in Bowling Green. Yeah. And yes.
And one of the things with Dorothy and Lilian Gish is that I think a lot of us were surprised when we first came here that they were from Bowling Green, or they did spend some time in Bowling Green, and she was definitely able to make the transition from silent to what they call talkies.
Ralph Wolf was very interested in having a place on campus for people to actually spend time thinking about film as an art form. And that was really important to him. And he went to a lot of trouble and got a lot of people to support the transformation of this space into a pretty lovely film theater.
When we had commencement on June the 11th, 1976, and the night before we had a dedication of the theater, and then the next day at commencement we gave her the honorary degree.
One of the exciting things about the Gish Theater, and always been exciting, has been a space for film in Bowling Green State University. But what has happened, it seems like over the last few years, is the students has really taken ownership over the space. It's become a space where they've been able to not only watch films, to learn about film history, but they've also have been able to learn more about each other as creative artists. A lot of students have had the opportunity to screen their own independent work in addition to the 48. So it's been a real space that they've been able to take over as their own.
Some students are more involved with like the direct operation of the Gish than others, and certainly I know like the student orgs get involved with actually like running, you know, their shows and programs there.
I've been so an officer 2 years now, or BG Real UFO. But I almost don't remember what it was like to not run the Gish. I mean, I started, I think, film and media my freshman year, so that's in the springtime. So I've been doing it since then, basically helping out.
It's a very rich experience to help other students show their work, because this is something that they've been working on for, in the case of the 48s, for a few days, or in the case of independent studies, something they may have been working on for up to a year in advance. Being the person or being the group of people who help get this person's vision out on the screen for other people to see, I think is a really, really great experience, and I don't think I'd give it up for anything else.
Being there, and not just being there to watch a film, but also working in that environment, really kind of introduces you to a whole new side of the Gish. And when they let you in, you go straight to your seat and you sit down and you focus on the screen, which is great because it's a beautiful place, and it's we're very lucky to have it at all.
I remember sitting in the very back because I was too nervous to sit in the front, and just being surrounded by all these experienced people and kind of thinking, like, you know, I'm probably going to be in this Gish a lot, and hopefully I can make it to where these other people are making it. It was pretty intimidating.
For me, it was actually the 48-Hour Film Fest in the fall of 2015. So I got acquainted with the Gish late, but actually it was funny that Megan says that, because she was that person for me. Like, I had my little out of focus movie, and then she was the one who was, you know, super professional and like had all her stuff together.
So going there is always a great experience, and of course they show the 48s there, and people go there to screen their films, and every time it's just a nice atmosphere to go to. So that was probably when I was first experienced it.
You know, the theater is like your church. Everyone understood that, hey, we're gonna have to be quiet, and we're gonna have to be respectful of these artists who are kind of bearing their souls, because that's what film is, right? You're maybe not a performer as a musician, but every time your movie plays to an audience, you're bearing your soul.
Any moment within the Gish is a good moment, because it's film students critiquing and viewing other film students' work, and it's still like just such a rewarding feeling being in there. And I think every single moment's different, but every moment is good.
Most of this space has been financed not by the university. We got a grant from the Board of Regents to do the major renovation, but we also did fundraising, and one of the ways to raise money was to ask for naming the seats. We have many famous actors and actresses who have names in here that I know would be very disappointed to know, and to this day I don't know what's going to happen to the seats or the commemorative plates.
I think it's really important for student work to be premiered at the Gish. First of all, seeing it on a big screen and in a movie theater is important. It's also important to be able to see it with an audience.
As much as we hate to admit this, the university is a business. And within a business, they're going to make decisions that they think are most fiscally responsible. What's being said is that financial decisions are driving a change in the Gish. So they're going to tear the Gish out. They're going to turn it into a lecture hall or office spaces or lecture hall spaces. Basically, they're changing what the Gish is meant to be, an endowed space that was given to us.
I immediately tried thinking about what we could do as an organization and what I could do as an individual to try to stop or to like help.
It's just, it's a, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me, because it's like, it's such a legacy. The Gish is like, it's always there. It's such a part of our film program.
I guess it just depends on the outcome. I mean, if it's for a business standpoint, if something is going to take its place that's better than the Gish, then I can understand. But I'd hope that our interests are also at hand when that decision is being made.
To me, like, I mean, a lot of people point at the Wolf and they're like, oh, that's our film building. You know, that's where the equipment's stored. That's where most of, if not all of the classes take place.
As beautiful as it is, it's mostly theater oriented. And so we really don't have like a good home except for the Gish. And so the fact that it's, you know, gonna be gone is like our home is gonna be gone.
The impact of even the possibility of there not being a space like the Gish is so distressing for students that it is distressing for me as somebody who is interested in students' well-being. So I would have hoped that a positive plan would have been in place before any of the concerns.
We have to look back and we have to cherish what we had, and we need to let the future filmmakers of not only BG but across the world know that we all start in some small theater, but that theater means a lot to us.
Yeah, it's gonna be super sad not to be able to, like, 20 years down the road, like, we met in the Gish.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I met one of my best friends here, and look at us, we're still, like, hopefully being successful and doing things.
Fingers crossed.
It's just, it's a, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me because it's like, it's such a legacy. The Gish is like, it's always there. It's such a part of our film program. And like, we have the Wolf Center now, but that's really more geared towards musical theater. And so without the Gish, we're not really going to have a place to like go and hang out and just have that go-to space.
The Gish does need upgrades. The Gish needs tech upgrades significantly. You know, I think, you know, I wish if there was more coordination. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but maybe there would have been an opportunity on the fundraising side to really recharge and remodel the Gish as a space. But you know, that didn't happen. You know, we'll have to make the best of what we got, you know.
I've spent 40 years making this what I thought was the finest film theater around, and I think about 4 or 5 years ago we had an evaluation from an academic committee, and in that report they said this is the finest film theater they had found on any university campus that they had viewed, and I thought that was a great honor. And so I think there are many, many reasons why it could stay. And
a department that is, for better or for worse, it's an arts department. You need a space to show your work. A classroom it doesn't do work justice.
Anyone who's been in there knows exactly how important that space is. But the decisions that have been made about it are being made by folks who've never sat there when it's filled with people who are absolutely engaged in what's going on.
My last 48 I was crying a lot and making all of my teammates take pictures with me in the Gish, because I was saying how this was our last 48 in the Gish and this is our last picture in here. And I remember taking one of me sitting in the front row, and you can see the whole place is empty. And it's like, that's a photo I'm always going to hold on to. Even when this building is gone, I can say, you know, this is what it looked like. This was this historical, amazing place. So I guess that's my way of holding on to things.
It's a part of history that's going to be gone. And for the upcoming generation of filmmakers at BGSU, they're not going to have that same experience, and that's a little bit of a disservice, to be honest with you.
Anybody who's watching this, or even future filmmakers to come, appreciate the community that you have and where that community is built. And that community was built in the Gish Theater for me, so really just appreciate and don't ever take for granted the place where you started and the place that you really grew.
And I think that's one of the best qualities of the Gish is that even though it is not the nicest, I mean, it's where everyone with similar qualities and similar interests can come to just celebrate their films being shown. And I think that's something that I would miss the most if I were to lose the Gish while I was in school. If I were to lose the Gish while I was in school, that's what I'd miss the most.
Should not tear it down. That's not a cool thing.
It seems like a community can build around that, and of course you have the film community where we come and we show our films there, so it just naturally seemed like a place for film to go to.
My favorite moments I've had in Bowling Green have been in the Gish Film Theater. I remember always watching all of the seniors and all of the winning film groups up, my first couple 48s, standing on the stage and looking all super happy. And I remember really wanting to be a part of that because that's a part of the history.
Gish is beautiful, and it'll be sad when it's gone, but there's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. I love the Gish.
No, that's the highlight of me being a film major right there, was when I was up on that stage with the people that I love most in this major.
I hope that they reconsider and they maybe renovate and save that space, because it's important. It's important for that sense of family, and certainly that sense of family of BGSU filmmakers, that both the past and the future.
Thinking back to like all these great moments where I felt like proud of myself and my other classmates, it's basically all been in the Gish.